Hi, my name is Stephanie Robbins, and I am the president, CEO, owner, all of that jazz of Robbins Plumbing. And today I want to talk to you about the signs you should be looking for that it's time to replace your disposal. Not to fight with it, but to replace it. So the first sign is it jams. Occasionally, it's probably user error. But if it's a constant thing that your disposal is jamming more than 3 times a year, let's say, it's probably a sign it's time to be replaced. If it is jamming, it's a sign you're using it wrong, and you should check out our video on how to use it. Disposals actually have a procedure to be used correctly, or maybe it's underpowered. So if it's jamming on a regular basis, it may not be that the disposal is going bad, but it's underpowered for your expectations. Homesteaders, you know what I'm talking about. Another sign, and this is kind of without saying, but it's leaking. So disposals are built in tiers: good, better, best, and epic. And those good and better options often have galvanized parts in them. Galvanized, steel, water, these things mean rust, which means leaking. So if your disposal is leaking, it's not repairable. It is time to replace it. So if you see any signs of rust, any signs of water around your disposal, it's time to go. It's gotta be replaced. Noisy is another thing. So a lower grade disposal is noisy when you're running it. Higher grade, they're so insulated you can practically not hear them. Like, it's crazy. So you can expect some noise, but if you hear a lot of noise from your disposal, a lot of times that is a sign of things working harder than they should be. And it's a sign of the things to come, that the motor is going bad, things are pushing harder than they need to spin. It's something to get yourself prepared for, that it is going to be inevitably time to replace your disposal. The other thing is stoppages. And I will say this is twofold. If you have stoppages at your kitchen sink regularly, this again could be a sign you're not using your disposal correctly, or that you have a problem at your kitchen sink with the drain work. But if it's not those two things, you have watched our video, you know how to work your disposal correctly, and you know that the drain work within your line is good. So let's say the ABS is good and you don't have cast iron in your wall, it's probably a sign that, that disposal is not grinding things the way it should be. It's sending large food particles into the drain line that aren't. Your drain line of your kitchen sink it's only 1.5 inches. Like, it's crazy. If you take that diameter and then you're like, hey, let's throw food down it, you'd be surprised if you actually did that as an experiment. So if your disposal isn't operating correctly, it's not grinding things down to nothing, then that will create stoppages. It will create headache. And it's time to replace it. So those are definitely signs it's time to replace it. If your disposal is less than 3 years old, I will say no matter the brand, unless it's underpowered, there's probably another issue, either a drain line issue or you're not using the disposal correctly. And like I said, disposals have a procedure, and we have a great video on that, but just a quick recap. You want to make sure before you put food down your disposal, the water is on cold, don't put hot, and let it run for a couple seconds. And then you put the food down there, but turn the disposal on first. So think about every time you've turned a lawnmower on inside a field and the grass is tall, and you try to start the lawnmower inside tall grass. It just does not work. You have to pull it outside of that grass. The same thing is true of your disposal. If you're putting things down there before it's turned on, it will turn on. It may likely jam, which isn't always a sign you need to replace it. It's a sign that you need to give it a break and use it correctly. That you're turning that lawnmower on, it can't work because the blades are stuck. So we want to make sure that we're using it correctly, that we're turning it on and then letting the grass or that food debris go in there. But then after that, give it a few seconds, 15, with cold water to flush everything through. That is really a proper procedure to make sure everything is working correctly. And that's how the disposal is meant to work. I'm not 100% perfect, but I'm like 95% perfect, which is pretty great. But I had to learn the hard way that I'm like, I went through so many garbage disposals, and I own Robbins Plumbing. So I'm like, hey, throw in a new disposal. Turns out shot glasses should not go down your disposal. It's bad. Who knew? Those little wooden spoons to stir your coffee, not supposed to go down there. It's also a thing. So, and then just a pro tip to extend the life of your disposal, of course, is to use it correctly. But you want to make sure that it is being cleaned and doing all the things it's supposed to. So use it correctly, and you want to prevent rust as much as possible. So don't put anything that's grease down your disposal, and make sure to keep it clean. We have a video on that as well. But you can really take even a disposal that only has a 1-year warranty or 3-year warranty, or one of our amazing ones that has a 10+ year warranty, and you can double that with proper care and maintenance. So that's definitely that pro tip. And you want to keep, as far as smell down, because smell at disposals is a thing. So we have a video on, using ice cubes and lemon peels, but the stopper inside your disposal, throw that thing in the dishwasher, because it's nasty. Disinfect it. You will thank me later. I promise. If you think that any of these things are an issue and you may need a new disposal, it's not high enough horsepower for you, it's getting old, it's made with steel versus aluminum, and you're tired of worrying about it leaking underneath the sink, you can definitely reach out to us at robinsplumbing.com. You can reach out to us at info@robinsplumbing.com at our email, or you can call us at 623-486-4657.